Okay, so welcome to the first Adobe Experience Platform Champion Office Hours. Tyler, Stephanie, and I will be leading this session. In the future, we won't be leading every session and we will be bringing in other voices. But for today, as the organizers and managers of the office hours for 2026, we will be leading a conversation. To quick housekeeping, to ensure that we're abiding by the Adobe Code of Conduct, we want everyone to know this is being recorded. You are free to unmute, but I will ask you to stay muted for the opening section just to make sure I don't have bandwidth issues. And you can always type questions into the chat if you need to reach out before I suggest everyone unmute. And then there'll be a survey at the end to help us get feedback and to improve other than just the pure input you're going to give us now. So no self-promotion or pitching of any kind during these office hours. This is meant to be everyone supporting each other and giving us feedback and having a dialogue without any kind of intent other than that. We ask that you not contact each other outside this meeting unless that person is giving you permission to do so. I will give you permission to contact me at any point, so hoping to hear from some of you outside of this meeting. But please get that consent before you reach out to anyone who's on this call. And if anyone shares information about themselves, please do not pass that along without their consent. Obviously, we're recording, but don't amplify without that person's consent. Okay, our goal today, and for anyone who has joined since I said this, if you look at the chat, there's a series of questions I want you to answer as part of the feedback and to help guide the conversation. So if you could look at the chat and respond and copy it in, your answers, I would appreciate that into the chat. I'd love it to get one chat response from each of you. But we're going to do introductions. Then we're going to talk about the format, the schedule, the goals. After I go through or we talk about who we are and what we want, I am going to ask you another set of questions around your goals and challenges for 2026. And then I'd love for us all to chat for the rest of the time. We'll see how long that is. Okay, if you haven't joined the chapter, the office hours chapter, you won't receive new event notifications. So we're going to have this. We're going to have office hours every month, and you will get notifications automatically if you join the chapter. There's a link in the deck. Stephanie, I assume you're going to either copy this link into the chat or send out the deck, right? So everybody can click on it, or can they click through the bevy?
They can't click through the screen right now, but I'm going to drop it in the chat real quick.
Perfect. Okay, and then you'll join the office hours virtual chapter. And once you've joined, you will stay in the conversation around the office hours. Okay, now so for 2026, Tyler Kraus and I will be leading office hours with Stephanie Dam, whose voice you just heard, her support. Tyler is from Wegmans, and Tyler, I'm going to let you talk for yourself so everybody hears your voice. I'm US Bank. I'm the product owner of the Adobe Experience Platform tool set, and I am heavily engaged with Adobe in terms of betas and product feedback and engineering conversations, which is how I got to be on the Champion program. Tyler, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
David, you forgot your fun fact.
I live in a Victorian house, 1901 Queen Anne Victorian in Georgia, and I have more than enough cats in the house. I have 11 indoor cats.
Very cool. I'll go ahead and introduce myself now. Tyler Kraus, digital marketing developer for Wegmans. I am sort of a full solution developer within the Experience Cloud, so work in AJO, AEP, and a whole bunch of products. My fun fact is working with the Experience Cloud has actually been my first and only position. So I started with an analytics internship, and I've worked my way through a whole bunch of the Experience Cloud products, and here we are today. David, I'll kick it back over to you.
Perfect. By the way, anyone who has joined, two quick notes. If you could turn your camera off and your audio, there's a lot of ice storms in the country, and I've been having bandwidth issues. So until we open it up, if everyone could leave their audio and their video off. The other thing is, if you joined after I said this, in the chat, there's a series of questions I would love for you to answer if you're comfortable, and copy back in one chat post a set of responses so that we get a better understanding of you and what you need. We will be hosting the office hours monthly. We are targeting the last Tuesday of each month. One of the questions I asked you was what time is for you right now? And I'm going to use that and the follow-up of when can you meet. We're going to, because Tyler and I are both East Coast time, United States, we're going to try to do some in the morning and some in the evening, so that we can get a broader global reach. And we'll optimize that to your responses to that question. So that's one that's going to help us define our future schedule. The next office hours will be on February 24th. And Tyler and Stephanie, have we confirmed the agenda for that yet, or are we still working on it? The topic?
TBD on topics, but today's agenda will actually be helpful for us to know what the audience would be most interested in.
Okay, perfect. So we're still working on the topic for the next one, but it will be on February 24th. And again, if you sign into the chapter, you will get the updates when we have finalized that topic. Okay, and this is, if you already read the agenda for this meeting, you already know all this, but I'm just going to say it again real quick. Adobe Experience Platform and the applications that are attached to it, there's a lot of capability there, and they're very different. One of the things I think that's unique about the Adobe Experience Platform Champion program is the tool is so wide ranging, and the tool set. We're talking about AEP, the data platform. We're talking about real-time CDP, Adobe Journey Optimizer, offer decisioning, and I'm not sure everyone uses it the way US Bank does. Federated audience composition, data distiller, many other tools that I didn't list here are capabilities. It's a pretty wide set of capabilities within this ecosystem. So that's another reason we're starting with asking you what you want, because data collaboration is another one. There's so many ways we can approach this. We just want to make sure we're doing it in a way that's useful for you. But this is a very broad tool set. And I know that I've talked to customers who started with AJO. US Bank started with real-time CDP and offer decisioning. We did not have AJO in the beginning. We did not have CJA in the beginning. I know other institutions have had a very different approach. I even know of one institution that only had federated audience composition in the beginning. So I know we've all had very different approaches to this tool set. Our goal today, like I said, is to hear more about you, and I would love for you to fill out those questions in the chat. And that feedback will guide our future topics and make sure that we're as engaging, relevant, and supportive of you as we can possibly be. Feedback always helps too. Survey or just direct, hey, I want you guys to talk about this or do more of this, do less of this is always helpful. And you have my permission to reach out to me at any time and tell me that. Okay. So this is the set of questions in the chat. I have intentionally not looked at the chat yet to not be distracted. Is anybody responding? I see a number of responses. Excellent.
Yeah, we have a lot trickling in, David. It's awesome.
That is perfect. And I'm seeing a wide variety of tool usage. Excellent. A lot of you at lunch hour. A lot of you have a number of the tools, but I do see people who don't have Journey Optimizer, and some that do. Perfect. Okay. While you're still finishing that, I'm going to copy in another set of questions. Let's make sure I did this correctly. Nope, did not. Give me a second. And I'm going to copy in a second set of questions. So on top of the ones I already put in there, I want to know the following. I really want to know what your goals are for 2026. And I can already tell I'm going to be overwhelmed by the amount of stuff in here. So I'm probably just going to open it up after this and let everyone. So I just copied this in chat. I would love to know which of these things matter most to you. Tool implementation, you just need to get the thing up and running. Product enhancements, there's gaps in the capability that you need Adobe to fix or to enhance. New features, one of the things that US Bank is seriously considering is federated audience composition because of all the industry buzz around composability. Data collaboration is also very interesting to us, and I know others on this call. AI, I mean, that's kind of a given, but is this one of your top 2 or 3 cases? Proving value internally, defending the platform is kind of the way I think of it. Within your org, creative flexibility, and by that I actually, reading it out loud sounds weird, I meant content flexibility. So content supply chain, message management, optimization goals, democratizing the tool usage. Do you need to have more users? Is training a significant goal for 2026? Governance controls, privacy, risk management. Would love to hear an explanation if you say that, but again, any response is good. And then finally, something I didn't think of. I'll tell you, for US Bank, personally, my number one is proving value internally. And I know this sounds like a weird one, but we've had the tool for about 4 years. And there are other groups in the bank that sometimes see the frustrations and they don't see the value. And so we are spending a lot of time right now proving value within the org. And so that's a big one. And then the other obvious one is AI. Everyone's very interested in the agents, making sure we get value from the Adobe capability. So my top 2 are proving the value and making sure that the AI gives us what we need and evolves. So at this point, Tyler, Stephanie, anything before I open the mic? Anything you guys wanted to add?
Yeah, thank you for curating this thoughtful list of questions. I would highly encourage everyone to feel comfortable sharing your feedback. And if you need to take some time to take a look at these questions and think deeper, that's totally fine. The chat's always open to when you're ready to share, but that's how David, Tyler, and I can strategize future sessions to come for the year. And we want to make sure that each month, each topic is relevant and of value to you all. So your feedback really does matter to us. And if there's a feature that you're super passionate about or a feature that you find a huge pain point, feel free to share that in the chat.
And if you have any other thoughts after the call today, remember to Experience League communities is a great place to post those questions and start that dialogue. David, Stephanie, and I are all active in there and constantly glancing through it. So if it's an enhancement request, that's a great place. Or if it's a question or a dialogue starter, the goal is for this to be a united place for us to have that conversation verbally and a little bit less formally, but all together. But if you have any other thoughts, that's a great place to just get those out there and start to interact with this community as we continue to all try to help each other.
One other comment, I see people, I saw one person, and I apologize, it's all going by so fast, said B2B replacing B2C. It's really helpful if one of your answers is 1 or 2. In fact, all of them, I would love some detail. I see people have kind of chosen to just put numbers down, and that's fine. That's still a vote. But if it's something like, we need to do the B2B CDP, we want to implement federated audience composition or data collaboration. If it's something specific, it would help to know not just the category, but the actual thing. So Any detail you can give us will help us guide future conversations. We can bring in other champions who have mastered that, like Tyler's an expert in data collaboration. Um, I, well, I've done some things, agents in particular, but we have other champions who are experts in a lot of different categories, and we can pull in Adobe engineering, Adobe product. Um, we can pull in a number of experts if you help us understand the exact topic you want to talk about. So I appreciate the numbers, but would love some elaboration on the specific topics, if that makes sense. So at this point, I'm open to anyone jumping in. So if you all want to start talking, what's interesting to you? What's your reaction to the conversation so far? Uh, you can take yourself off mute, open your video up, and give us some input.
Hi guys, this is Marzena. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, very,
Hello,
very well.
I am from EY Global, and I think I provided a little bit of details. What are our goals for this second half of our financial year? Because actually we are entering the H2 in my organization, so time flies. And in this second half, we are really focusing on utilizing the recently announced upgrades of AEP B2B architecture. It was released in July, and some customers already benefited from this upgrade, which is mainly the backend upgrade. But having this in place, it allows for introducing the CJA B2B version more smoothly, and we're heavily relying on customer journey analytics, because this is the application which is being used by all the marketers in organization, also executive leadership. That's why it's so much important for us to switch from currently used B2C option of CGA to B2B, so we can resolve our primary problems that in the opportunity cycle, for example, there's only one contact associated to the opportunity. And in B2B, there are multiple contacts, like various buyers within the buyer group. So we're approaching this change right now, and I would love to hear more from people who are representing B2B organization, if you have been already experiencing this change, because this is something new. I think not only for our firm here, but for other B2B customers of Adobe, because all those B2B features like AJO and CJA B2B are relatively fresh. But of course, I'm not expecting any answers from you guys right now, but any insights you would like to share, these are very helpful, because initially it was said that like switching to B2B CJA, for example, is just creating a new connection with all those additional components like buyer group layer and opportunity layer available. But of course, when we started working on that, there is more challenges, and we need to invest some resources and effort into that change. So today or during next sessions, or I would love to meet with somebody like one-to-one to discuss. This is something which is important for me and my organization.
So you work with Ernst Young?
Yes.
They have a really strong Atlanta office, right? I believe I've met with several of your local. I'm in the Atlanta area. I've met with several of them. They were you guys are some of the strongest users of the B2B CDP, as I understand it, and as I discussed with them. So uh, I totally hear your ask.
Mhm.
I will. So one of the things I want to do, if we have time, and I think we will, I'm going to put up a list of proposals. So you propose B2B and then maybe B2B CJA, but just a B2B conversation. So I'm going to put that up as one of the options for people to vote on at the end.
Fantastic.
Totally on board with that. I know at US Bank, we've had issues with data loading for B2B, and this new revision in the data structure, which we won't get for, I think you guys were probably first or early because Ernst Young is so advanced in the B2B usage. We'll be getting it in a couple of months. We're really excited about it because we think it'll make the data processing much more efficient for B2B CDP data. But yeah, I'd love to hear your experience, let alone us tell you. I'd love to hear your experience. But yeah, you're on the list.
Thank you. And yes, we are in this change very actively. So I will be happy to share more once we are more into that change. And yes, I'm working with Atlanta folks, so this is my team. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that you know each other, guys. Yeah, so that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for the input. Anyone else want to contribute a topic, a concern, a specific case?
Hi, I can also come off camera, on camera. Hi, I'm Sasha. I work at Saxo Bank, and there's actually two of the topics that are really in my interest. Is the first one tool implementation and also aid governance, control, privacy. And we're at the moment doing a big transition from Adobe Analytics to CGA, but at the same time we're actually like cleaning up everything. So we're redoing all our schemas. We're going through all the data. We're basically starting from scratch, which is a pretty big thing. And then on top of it, what I'm really interested in is because I come from like I haven't been working with Adobe for a long time. It's like close to like a few months now, actually. So it's all pretty new to me. But I am actually leading the project to move from Adobe to CGA within the company. And what I've been experiencing is there's like not that much control on when people, with data. Like, so everybody who has admin rights can just like add data sources. There's no control, like version control. So I'm really curious, like how other people are like handling this and making sure that everything is compliant as well. I've having quite a hard time like understanding like the legacy what has been done in the past and understanding like how we can control this in the future. We have, for example, like a lot of file uploads, and it's not clear like what they're doing, where they stored. So I'm really interested to hear from other companies how they manage their data and the governance around it.
Okay, so Sasha, I've got two things for you, and I hope this isn't a pattern, but US Bank is actively migrating from legacy Adobe tags to Web SDK, and we're having to remap all of our analytics data in the edge on AEP. So I think it sounds similar to what you're talking about migrating Adobe Analytics to CGA. They're not identical.
So we're already using like the Web SDK, like partly, not for everything yet.
But when you say redoing schemas, you're talking only the schemas in CGA, or are you also having to update the schemas in AEP, the XDM
Yeah,
type?
sorry, AEP, like everything.
Yeah, no, we may have a slightly different root cause. We are also onboarding CJA right now, and so we're trying to do both simultaneously, move from legacy Adobe Analytics to Web SDK and update our CJA schemas for analytics site behavior. But anyway, I'm trying to sympathize here. I feel like we have a very similar issue to yours, but would love the conversation. Now, the second one, your second one, just to make sure I've got it, you're talking about permission and data permission controls and limiting access to what people really need.
Yes, that's one thing, but also like having like, some version control, right? Because I mean, there's no version control, at least not that I've seen. So
okay, version control. So the ability to manage the system, kind of like a normal technology ecosystem, where you have, and I'm going to say this wrong, but like promotion and other kinds of controls around updates. Is that the kind of thing you're looking for?
yeah, updates on the data. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Those are good topics. Thank you.
And Sasha,
Any
those are things we've all struggled through and in journeys we've all worked on migrating. And that's an awesome part of Adobe is no two solutions are the same, and no migration from legacy into modern technology is going to look the same. So that's a
No,
really
exactly.
great one, and definitely one I'm sure most people on this call can sympathize with.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough one because we're trying to get rid of all the legacy, but then also not breaking things and also making sure that we can actually keep the business going.
perfect. Anyone else have anything they want to contribute here? And we've got plenty of time. We got another 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, if there's space for it in the future, I'd love to have a little bit of time dedicated to discussing some of the trends, I guess, in the industry more broadly. I think someone mentioned data composability. I think that was you, David. So, that being a trend within the competitive space. How are you viewing the features that Adobe is bringing out, specifically AP, obviously, is bringing out to meet that? So, federated audience composition. How is that being received by your group? Is there any gaps? Are there any challenges? How have you overcome that? Another example that's on this list would also be agents, of course. It's in every single pitch. How is that being received? Is it just buzz within your organization where you're needing an answer to speak to that, or is there something specific that people are looking to get out of that? Obviously, this is a forum of people that are all working in the same space and have some expertise. So not necessarily looking at it to be like a therapy session, but on some of those trends, we'll say, some of those talking points that are a little bit newer and a little bit less well defined, we'll say. I'd love this to be a space where we can define it amongst ourselves and then have some discussion around how the Adobe stack is meeting those trends within our space.
Adam, one of my personal goals for office hours, and one of the reasons I volunteer for you to reach out to me on this side, is I think that we influence Adobe's evolution. I've noticed that there have been features Adobe has built that did not work for me in US Bank. And by being in the betas and pushing back really hard, we sometimes got what we wanted. I think the kind of conversation I'm hearing you recommend, which is let's be transparent, let's put the dirty laundry out there and examine what's bothering us in a effective way, not just whining, but actually giving meaningful, actionable feedback to Adobe. I think that's kind of my goal for some of this. I think education's a big part of this too, using the tool set better. But my personal kind of, Stephanie's probably cringing right now, but my personal goal is exactly what you're talking about. Let's help Adobe be better for us by being honest and direct and giving them useful feedback, not just whining. Does that fit what you're thinking?
Yep, and beyond Adobe, I'll speak plainly on one of the topics. Agents, AI agents, agentic AI. I often wonder if I'm alone in feeling like everyone's using the word and has a very fuzzy definition of what that means, and a lot of people are expected to just use it in sentences. That being said, I think there is a lot of value there, but I think in the industry, we're using the word in a way that is not particularly well defined. So, beyond Adobe, using the opportunity we have amongst these individuals here that are all working in the same space, be able to go back to our organization and say, for example, hey, actually, it is a industry-wide trend where there isn't a consistent definition. Or, for example, the way a lot of practitioners or people that are in the space are thinking about agents is an enhancement of the user interface that you use to interact with these tools, as an example. Being able to bring that to our organization is something that I'd love to get out of this, because I doubt I'm alone in feeling like I'm not going to find that amongst, or it's not going to be in vast supply within other groups in the organization. And this is an opportunity to really connect with people that can help us do that.
Discussing Adobe AI, both, I like your idea of not just Adobe, but AI in Adobe and outside Adobe that impacts us. I think that's a great topic. I would certainly vote for that one. Anything else? And thanks everyone for your input so far. Anyone else have anything? And don't be shy. Again, the whole point of us being here is so that you can talk. So please feel free.
Hey, David, chiming in here.
Yep.
Adam touched upon something about the format of these sessions, as well as kind of making this a community for everyone who's interested in an expert in this field to connect and share their use cases, pain points, messaging, and solutions. So I'd actually like to pose the question to everyone, how would this office hours be the best use of your time? Would you like to submit questions ahead of time to us, and then David, Tyler, and I can find an expert who can answer those questions live? You can also continue submitting questions live during office hours. We can also invite someone from product to help answer some of these questions. Or would you like these sessions to be interactive, where we all brainstorm and bring together use cases and challenges? I'd like to ask everyone here. You all decided to join early morning or late afternoon today. So what are you hoping to get out of office hours? How would you like the format of these sessions to be moving forward? And feel free to type in chat if you don't feel comfortable unmuting yourself.
I'm lazy, so I'll come off mute. Yeah, I think I would find it useful to set some questions ahead of time, and those can either be used to dictate a discussion, as I mentioned. So if we have a lot of similar questions or around the same topic, perhaps having that as a discussion, or to your point, Stephanie, just addressing those questions directly by bringing in any experts within the community or on the Adobe side. I would find that extremely useful. And if there was an opportunity to kind of publish some of the questions or topics that have come in at a high level ahead of time, I think that would also be quite useful.
So back to Tyler's point, and maybe we need an office hours experience league or Slack. And Stephanie, I defer to you on technically what that would mean. But is there an area in Experience League that we could own that would be the topics for office hours and some office hours responses and feedback?
Yeah, good question. I believe for now we should use the community. So let's start a post in community before each month as we're hosting office hours. I'd invite everyone to go on that post, and we haven't done this yet. This is hypothetical. Drop your topics of interest, your questions. And so it's public for everyone to see and join and vote. And we'll take a look at that thread, and that's how we'll curate each month's session. How does that sound?
So to be part of that conversation, how would they join? I mean, it's going to be the Experience League
Communities.
AEP, just the entire community, or the AEP? It'd be the AEP community, right?
Let's do the AEP community. There is also RTCDP and AJO specific communities, but given this audience and this group, we're going to cover all of the apps. Let's focus on using AEP community, and I can drop a link in the chat shortly.
Okay, perfect.
And anyone can go on community, anyone who is a customer.
Okay, we've got 7 more minutes. Anything anybody else wants to add? I did put the topics I've heard plus one that I saw several people voting on the B2B CDP and B2B CJA, Adobe Analytics to CJA, or redoing schemas for analytics. Permission controls, limiting access to what people need, and version control. Proving value internally was one I saw pop up several times. Maybe it's my own bias. Industry trends, how Adobe's doing and what's going on in the world, I guess. And exploring usage of AI in marketing within and without outside of Adobe. That may not be exactly what you meant, but that's how I heard it. So those are the topics I've heard so far. Is there anything else anybody wants to discuss now?
Hi, I'm Nico from Prison Media. One of the topics that might be interesting is the data management as a whole within AEP. Something that we have experienced in the past is that even though it's a basic topic, there are some scenarios that are quite hard to manage within the platform. Specifically in our case, we try to always do a good sync with the master data sources. We tend to have real-time data streams, and from time to time we do a consolidation with full imports from the master data sources, and it's not the most straightforward sync in AEP because of how full imports are managed. So that will be one of the key topics that we'll be touching during 2026 with the Adobe team, just trying to enhance and introduce new type of data syncs with AEP. Yeah, that could be extra area.
I would be fascinated by that. One of the debates we're having at US Bank is how much data has to be in the CDP. Because my perception is that the CDP is an operational database whose job is to manage messages, holistic messages for customers. It's not meant to be where all the complex data analysis happens because it's just not fast enough and it's too expensive to put everything in there, like years of transactions in various systems. So I would love to hear your thoughts and others around how you make that work. Because that's what I think composability is for. Do you pre-digest the data, batch every day? Do you load it as events? I think those are great questions that we're working on. So I'd love to hear more about that. Great topic.
Yeah. Just to add on top of that, Davey, I think that also profile richness and the sizing of the profiles, I think that it's a common issue. So that might be also part of that topic. I didn't say it, but thanks for organizing this. I believe that it's going to be great to have this for the community. So thanks for moving this forward.
Good, thank you, and I appreciate your support and your topic. Yeah, and one more comment on that. I've noticed that events, you said you do a lot of real time, which is event based. That's what eats our storage. Attributes are not that expensive, daily attributes, because they get written over. It's events that get you. So again, I'd love to hear how you're doing it. Maybe we could bring in some data experts, or just we could talk amongst ourselves around data. That's a great topic. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, David. It's me, Ricardo from Santander. Linked
Hey.
to this topic of data, I want to hear more about the federated audience, because we have a lot of new use cases from the business team, and we need to ingest some new attributes in batch modes, new events. And every new attribute, we need to ask the permission of Santander Spain. So we have a lot of different use cases blocked by this long process that we have here at Santander Brazil. So I want to understand more about the federated audience, and if I can use the federated audience to speed up the ingestion of the use of new data for our audiences here. I think that is a good topic, and we have a lot of data inside the CDP. It's a nightmare here.
Well, I'm hearing you, and I apologize, I couldn't hear you really well. I don't know if it was my or yours, but what I took from what you said, Ricardo, was you want to consider federated audience composition. You're trying to figure out how to access the data efficiently and quickly. Is that a fair recap?
Yeah, like this, because we have a global team here in Brazil, in Santander, and we need to ask for permission for every new attribute that we need to put in our instance here in Brazil. Perfect.
I'm also hearing, sorry.
No,
I think I lost you for a second. I'm also hearing an issue that I know we have too, which is how do we get risk or privacy or data approval for using the ecosystem? And so I heard you both say, how do I access the data? But more importantly, how do I get permission to access the data? Is that fair?
Yeah, it's fair.
Okay, I think that could be one or two topics. But I'm also hearing this idea of a data management office hours as being important. So I'm going to add that to my topic list. Perfect. Thank you. We are right at time. Anything else anybody wants to say? When we do the post, I'll put what I think the proposed topics are in that initial post, or at least a follow up to Stephanie's initial post. Feel free to pile on, vote. Let's see if we can quickly prioritize the next few, and we'll schedule those. Anything else anybody wants to say?
Would you like to use the remainder minute with some closing remarks and upcoming events? Yeah.
I really appreciate everyone coming today. This would be useless if we were talking into the void, and I am so glad you guys could all make it and give us feedback. We will be, Tyler and I will be hosting some events at Summit, so I hope to see you there. If you do make Summit, by all means, please introduce yourself. I'd love to meet all of you. And then we already did the open mic. So once again, thanks for joining. Stephanie, I know you copied this in. Oh, post survey. If you could scan the post event survey, is there another way to access it? Like, is it in the meeting?
After this event, they'll get a link to the survey as well.
Okay, perfect. So if you could give us feedback, again, today's whole purpose was feedback, but please pile on. If there's anything we could do better, anything that you appreciated, by all means, let us know. And we want to build this program for you. This is not for us. It's definitely for you. So really appreciate your participation.